Okay, so this is going to be the next deck. This is going to be Aggro Shadowcraft. It's a pretty strong deck. I enjoy playing it. I enjoy playing all my decks pretty much. I think the only one I did enjoy playing was Dimension Shift Rune, because I can't play the deck for shit and I hate it. But anyways, so onto the deck profile. Go through the cards first. And then I'll explain my choices on why I picked them and blah blah blah, how they're used in the deck. Okay, so triple Skull Beast, triple Skeleton Fighter, triple Soul Conversion, triple Spartoy Sergeant, triple Lesser Mummy, triple Dark Conjurer, triple Rabbit Necromancer, triple Skeleton Knight, one of Foul Tempest, one of Deathbrand, triple Demonic Strike, triple Playful Necromancer, triple Phantom Howl, double Dance of Death, and triple Cerberus. Okay, now let's go through the deck choices. Your one-drops, Skull Beast, Skeleton Fighter, obviously the better one-drop because it comes with an on turn 1, because it comes with an upside and it has better stats. But yeah, this is the card you want to see turn 1. But for an aggro deck, you generally want to have at least 5 or 6 one-drops, just so you can have something to play turn 1 and start getting the pressure on face right away. But yeah, Skull Beast, it essentially gives you 2 shadows. Last words game 1 shadow. Skeleton Fighter is almost always going to be a 2/2. Just because Necromancy 1 is super easy to fill in this deck. Super easy. I mean, any Shadowcraft. No, any deck will give you enough shadows for Necromancy 1. Just +1/+1 is really strong on the 1 mana 1/1, essentially doubling its stats. But honestly, don't be afraid to play this turn 1 just to get the 1/1 on board. But yeah, so that's Skeleton Fighter, because you can usually throw it in as a 1 mana 2/2. It'd be slightly harder to remove. Yeah. Triple Soul Conversion. This is the draw card of the deck. Also very strong. Most people think, holy shit, destroy an ally follow, it's really bad. Yeah, actually, yeah, they're true. That's bad. But the benefit of this deck is it generates a lot of ghosts. And what ghosts are, if you play Hearthstone, they're basically Unleash the Hounds. It's a 1 mana, not a 1 mana. It's just a 1/1 charge, which dies at the end of the turn. So actually Hounds lives, but so Ghosts actually worse than Hounds, but yeah, so they're just 1/1s that die at the end of the turn, and you have a lot of cards that summon them out. So essentially you just want to Soul Conversion the Ghosts when you can, unless you're really desperate, then try Soul Conversioning like a low cost guy, a damage guy, or someone with Last Words. But yeah, but the 2 cards, 1 mana to draw 2 is very strong. Okay, next card, Spartoy Sergeant, very solid 2-drop, probably the best 2-drop you can have on turn 2 because it does something the turn it's played. Fanfare gain 1 shadow, so this will provide you 2 shadows essentially because it provides 1 when it dies. But yeah, 2/2 stat line is normal, 2 mana 2/2. Lesser Mummy, Necromancy 4 gain Storm. Once again, since you run a bunch of low level shit, and you run a bunch of shadow generating effects, Necromancy 4 isn't hard to get. Even if it doesn't gain Storm, it's good. But if it does, it's also very strong because we have a buff card that we run in this deck. So you can essentially get a 2 mana 4/2 charge. Very, very strong. Especially if you think about it, if it gains Storm, then it's already cost efficient by 1 mana, which is 50% of its cost, because Swordcraft has that 3 mana 2/2 charge. So it just becomes a 2 mana 2/2 charge. Very strong. Okay, Dark Conjurer. Summon a ghost if you have an allied follower in play. Not these. I mean, it's a very good effect when you get it off. It's a 2 mana 3/3 with 1/1 as charge, so it's very strong when you get it off. But more often than not, you're just gonna play this as a 2 mana 2/2, because generally when we evolve stuff, it's going straight into trading, or it's just to get some of the bonus effects off, like for Cerberus and whatnot. So those usually die pretty quickly. But if you do happen to have one, or say you have a leftover minion, you evolve it and then summon the 2/2, you get a 1 mana. You get another 1/1 charge, which is very strong. And that 1/1 ghost, like I said before, you can use it with Soul Conversion or whatever. So yeah, very good. So yeah, 9 2-drops, so you should always... Okay, so I forgot to mention this in my Stormhaven video, but for mulligans, keep any 1-drop you see, except for Soul Conversion, because you don't need Soul Conversion to start, but always keep a 1-drop. always keep any of these 2-drops, and then see if you can get a 3-drop. If you can't get a 3-drop, and you're going second, keeping your turn 4 evolution is also good. But yeah, if you have two 1-drops, mulligan one of them, cause you have like no 2 or 3 drops, mulligan one of them, cause you need that turn 2, turn 3, especially in aggro deck. But yeah, moving on. Rabbit Necromancer, very strong card, very cost, I'd say, efficient, in that the fact that it'll almost always deal 2 damage. Unless it gets like Priest of the Cudgel, and then you're just like, well, fuck that card. But yeah, it's a 3 mana, 3/2, so good stats, or I don't want to say good stats, but like normal stats for its mana cost, 3 mana cost. But the added benefit of dealing 10% of your enemy's max HP is very good in aggro. It's very, very good for the aggro matchup. So yeah, we run triple of these. Very strong turn 3-drop. Skeleton Knight. So we run this because it essentially provides us 2 shadows from the skeleton summons, and skeleton's just a 1/1. But also its stats become 4/2, and it's very off. It's like 9 out of 10 gonna get its Death Rattle or Last Words off, barring it gets banished, which is why Haven is considered a very strong card against, very strong deck archetype against Shadowcraft because of their banishes. But yeah, the 3/1 stat line means it'll die to like 1-drops, but since we're playing aggro, the best assumption is that you will be controlling the board early. So yeah, just a 3/1, and it's also like resilient to AoE. Like after Angelic Barrage, it still leaves behind a 1/1, which is good for poking, just getting that fixed damage. Yeah, the one of Foul Tempest. This deck doesn't have any AoE unless you count Phantom Howl as an AoE, which I'll get into later. But this is just Angelic Barrage, but almost like infinitely better. This is basically a Angelic Barrage with upside. Like this Necromancy deals 3 damage to everything is ridiculous. Necromancy 6, but yeah, we just take this in case we do fall behind against like certain aggro decks, because Banner Sword will be faster than you. Just keep that in mind. So this is good for that case. It's also good for cleaning up fairies if we fall behind in that regard as well. Deathbrand. So I used to run the one of see if I can find it. The one of, where is it? Okay, the one of Undying Resentment. But I found that when it's useful at the beginning of the game, I would honestly rather have the extra 2 Necromancy go into my like turn 4 or turn 6 Phantom Howl combos. And more often than not, like the deal 4 damage was sometimes overkill for what I need to do, or it wasn't enough. But for Deathbrand though, honestly, the extra 4 Necromancy means you kill pretty much whatever big minion your opponent will play. So this just rips through a lot of like late game dragons or whatnot, or any big taunts. So just a good card in that regard. And also has the it's 1 mana more, but also has the upside of versatility of dealing with anything with 3 or less. Yeah, so that's good. Triple Demonic Strike, good finisher. 4 mana, deal 3. Yeah, that's all I can say about this card. It's just 4 mana, deal 3. Okay, Playful Necromancer is your turn 4 Broken Evolve. Evolve at turn 4, summon 2 ghosts. 2 ghosts can go face, can trade into something, and then once again, as I mentioned, just soul conversion the ghosts and you get 2 cards. But yeah, you're going to be wanting to evolve this whenever you can on turn 4, just how strong it is. Okay, so Phantom Howl. I'll explain Phantom Howl more in depth with Cerberus, because these 2 are combo pieces, but just real quick what it does. It fills your board with ghosts, based on how many shadows you have. So say you have like 4 shadows and your board is empty, you'll summon 4 ghosts. If you have 5 shadows, you'll summon 5 ghosts. Yeah, something like that, and they all charge. So yeah, just think it was like a turn 4. I mean, don't think of it as a turn 4, but just as an example, it's like turn 4, you have 5 burst damage essentially from hand. Dance of Death. I don't think I really need to explain this card, but essentially it's the best neutral removal in the game, and it does because it deals 2 damage to the enemy's face as well. Very good for getting past like taunts, etc. And Cerberus, the star of the deck. So Phantom Howl plus Cerberus. It is a turn 6, 11 damage combo out of hand if you have evolves left. If not, then it's only turn 9. but it's a 2-turn setup. So it's a lot of high burst damage, but it takes a lot more setup than other classes like burst. But anyway, so what Cerberus does is 5 mana 3/3, very bad stats. Like, yeah, that's extremely bad stats. This is like, this doesn't even hit 4 mana. So this is like between 3 mana. This is like 3.5 mana's worth of stats. But the important part is it gives us Coco and Mimi. And what Coco and Mimi are 2 very efficient damaging spells. Mimi deal 2 damage to an enemy, and then Coco is give +2/+0. So our combo is essentially turn 5 Cerberus, and then you're probably gonna evolve her because a 5 mana 3/3 is very, very slow. Like, and you're gonna be wanting to do something other than just playing it, unless you're so far ahead on board, and then in that case it doesn't matter. But yeah, so 5 mana 3/3, which you'll probably evolve into a 5/5. You get Coco and Mimi hand, and then next turn you have Phantom Howl. And Phantom Howl, as mentioned earlier, summons if you have an empty board, which you probably will, honestly. Like, yeah, because turn 6 a lot of AOE comes down. Themis, and that one Runecraft card, I forget what it's called, but it banishes or it kills things with 5 or less health if you have like or Sigil or something. Maybe it's Spanish, I forget, but anyway. So Phantom Howl, you summon 5 charges. 5 1/1 charges, that's 5 damage there. Use Cerberus. Mimi will do 2 to face, and then Coco will buff one of yours to a 3/1. So then you have 2 damage plus 2 damage plus 5, that's 9 damage. And if you have Involved, that's another 2 damage. So yeah, it's 11 damage out of hand on turn 6 to face. That's very strong. So if you can get them to 9 health by turn 6 and you have this combo in hand, boom, easy win. More often than not though, like they'll have something away. And if you do have to use a card to trade, always use Coco first, because Mimi is more versatile in what she can do. Coco, usually you'll be buffing on charges, and charges will rarely last the next turn, while Mimi can always deal 2 to everything. Like, think of it as Mimi bypasses taunt, Coco doesn't, essentially. But yeah, so that is that deck. So I'm actually gonna add this, but cards you can replace if you don't have them. Foul Tempest, easily. You just replace with the Angelic Barrage. Yeah. Phantom Howl, nothing really replaces this card, to be honest. It's just like nothing in the deck. I'm trying to see if there's anything that could like make up for it. Like, this is the combo of the deck, and if you don't have this, it makes playing this deck a lot harder. But let me see can I look up Rush? No. But yeah, you kind of need Phantom Howl and Cerberus. You can get away with playing less than 3 Cerberuses though. But yeah, I think the only card you can replace in this deck is Foul Tempest. Like, these 2 are just way too vital. Everything else is bronze or silver. Like, this deck isn't that hard to make. It's just Cerberus is kind of expensive. Let's see, is this the one that gains Rush? Nope, that's Ward. Yeah, like, I mean, yeah, nothing really. Yeah, yeah. So that was pretty short, but yeah. Anyways, priority mulligans. Essentially, you always want to have a turn one play on an aggro deck. If you see both of these, throw away the Skeleton Fighter, because that has the potential to become better in the future. While Skull Beast is always going to have its like same effect at whatever point. Of these, the ones you want to always keep a 2-drop regardless of what it is. If you have multiple 2-drops, mulligan in less. Like, keep the Sergeant, because Sergeant, like I said, is the best 2-drop you can play in this deck on turn 2. And then turn 3, try to get one of these. So essentially, yeah, just follow curve. Like, this deck is very curve dependent. But yeah, so that is Aggro Shadowcraft.